Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Today is a spectacular Saturday. I'm excited. If you can tell, my energy is at 1,000 this morning. Thank you so much for joining. Today is an awesome day. First, let me congratulate my sister and my mother. I am super duper duper excited for them. God gave them a vision. They made it into a reality. They had some help of an amazing woman, C.S. Bailey, and they did it. So I'm giving them 2 snaps. I want you to give them some claps and congratulate them for all their hard work. So I'm so excited for them. I am proud. I am their biggest fans. They already know. No one has to ask. This is an amazing moment. So they launched Virtuous Stream Network on this week. And so I'm proud of them. And so I'm going to say it again. I'm proud of them. I'm their biggest fan. My name is Kanika Dorsey. I'm your host of Resiliency and Recovery, The Comeback. If you look up the word resilient in the dictionary, I can tell you that my face is there. Do you know why? Because I've had to bounce back from so many situations where I took some time to recover, and then God positioned me for the ultimate comeback. And if you know me and you know my story, for some of you who don't know, I'll share it at a later date, but I can tell you my face is the picture that's in Webster's dictionary for resilient. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Yonkers, New York, home of the Braves. That's where I'm from. Anybody who's on here from Yonkers, you all know I love my city. I was born and raised there by Mildred, the deceased Garfield Dorsey. They raised us, 5 of us, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. And so I'm excited. I currently reside in Maryland. So this is my home, but New York, Yonkers in New York will always be my home. It's my love. It's where I was born and raised until I moved here. So let me tell you a little bit about my educational career. I started teaching in the South Bronx. And when I first started teaching in the South Bronx, the principal gave me a self-contained general education, English language arts, math, and science class. For all my educator friends out there, you know, there is no such thing as a general education self-contained class. So again, he said, I'm giving you this class. And I said, no problem, I'll take it. So for the first time I walked into the class, the student said, okay, miss, we're gonna make you quit. They had no idea that I had just finished watching Lean on Me 5 times. I was Miss Joe Clark and I was ready for them. They had no idea what I had been set up for. Because my assignment, like again, I told you, was the ultimate comeback. My daughter needed to eat, I needed a job, and there was no way I was letting 6th grade students make me quit my job. Absolutely not. I needed to feed her. And so after 30 days, those were the best students in the building. Guess what? They walked in a straight line in the hallway. Nobody got suspended. Nobody got put out of class. And so that was my favorite class. Second year came around, the principal said, I'm giving you the same class, self-contained, 7th grade, English language arts, math, science. Guess what? Anybody who knows there's no such thing as a self-contained general education class. By the time we got to the 3rd year, I said, listen, sir, but as you can see, I'm still in education. I'm still here. I did not quit. I moved to Prince George's County Public School, where I became an English language arts avid teacher, English language arts department chair, and an instructional coach. And in that role, my job was to help teachers improve their instructional practice and increase student achievement. So I did it. I can tell you I did it. Then I went to Fairfax County Public Schools, where I became an RE 180 teacher and a test coordinator. And then I went to Maryland State Department of Education as a middle school English language arts specialist. So let me have a little station break. Let me pause for a second. When I first moved to Maryland, I told God, I want to work at the state. That's my dream job. That's where I see myself. That's where I'm going when I retire. I'm definitely going to the state. But as you know, sometimes you can make your own path, and God says, okay, I'm putting a detour. He didn't even put a yield sign. He put a stop sign. He said, I'm pausing your plans, and this is where you are going. So I went to the state. When I first got to the state, they said, how did you get this job? Like my mother always says, favor ain't fair. And favor wasn't fair. So guess what? He positioned me in my 30s. I got the job that I thought I would get in my 60s. And I was a middle school English language arts department chair for the entire state. I'm going to say that again. I was a middle school English language arts department chair for the entire state. That job was amazing. I have to tell you, my best friend, she encouraged me for that job. I looked at her like she was crazy. I said, I'm not doing that job. First of all, I'm in Virginia. We don't have the same standards. I have no idea what's going on in Maryland. But guess what? Favor isn't fair. So she helped me, gave me all the stuff I needed. I prepped and I got that job. It was amazing. I got to travel across the state. I did professional development for teachers. I trained superintendents, assistant superintendents, school-based administrators, school-based teachers, central office staff. And let me tell you, sometimes when I went to go do the training, they would ask, where's the trainer? Where's the professional development person? Me. I'm here. I'm ready to do the training. Let's be seated and let's get started. Because again, favor's not fair. And so when they looked up and saw my face, they thought, how did she get this job? I didn't even want to tell them. God positioned me for the ultimate comeback. So guess what? I'm here. And then there was a hole. There was something missing in me. It was something missing in my heart. It was something that I didn't feel fulfilled in my professional career. And I talked to my mother and I said, there's something missing. She said, Neek, you know, you're at the state. If you go back to school, it's like you're going down. I said, it's not. I said, I know it's not. And so when somebody brought the position to me and said, there's a position for an academic principal in Alexandria City Public Schools, I thought, there's no way I'm getting that job. They probably had 5 to 6 people already lined up for that job. But again, remember, favor's not fair. So when I got the job, I said, okay, Lord, you know my heart, you know I miss children, you know that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about education. I'm passionate about children. I'm definitely passionate about the ones who people say that they don't have a chance of surviving. And so right now I'm currently an academic principal in Alexandria City Public Schools. So again, like I tell you, God will position you and set you for the ultimate comeback. He will make a path and a journey for you that no one ever thought that you would make it. And so I'm here. So what I want you to think about is your why. And I'm going to tell you my why and why I'm still in education, why I said in my 20s, if I had to talk to my 20-year-old self, my 20-year-old self would tell my 40-year-old self, you're never going to be in education 20 years. I'm telling you, my 20-year-old self said no. I said I was going to be a lawyer. I would do 3 years in education. Those of you who know me, my father, when I was growing up, said, Nika, you got a mouth on you. You're going to be a lawyer. But God had different plans for me. So guess what? I'm in education 20 years later. Now, when I tell you my why, I want you to think about your why. So when I was in the 4th grade, they moved us, and I say moved us, to the other side of town for school. So they said, okay, we're going to send all of you Black and brown kids. We're going to send you to the other side of town, and then it's going to be better. But I want you to know I had a foundation. So my mother, again, it was 5 of us. They put us in private school, so I went to a Christian school. So by the time I got to 4th grade, I went to the other side of town. Those teachers had no idea how to teach Black and brown children. But I want you to know, when I was 10 years old, my teacher said, you'll never graduate high school or college. I want that to sink in for a second. Imagine me, 10 years old, with an adult who didn't look like me telling me, you will never graduate high school and college. That lady had no idea I had a praying mama. So my praying mother was on her knees praying for me daily. I'm not going to tell you she prayed more for my brothers and sisters. Well, mainly my brothers, because I would be telling them. But I'm telling you, I had a praying mama, so she got me through. So when I graduated high school, I looked for the teacher. I wanted to show her my degree. I wanted to show her, look what you told me I would never do. When I graduated with my bachelor's, I looked for her again. I want you to know, you can ask my mother. I Googled her. I searched everywhere, high and low, because I wanted her to see this degree. When I finished my master's, I looked for her. I couldn't find her. When I will finish my PhD, I will look for her. I will send her a copy of my diploma, and I will put on there, remember what you said to me? You told me I would never graduate high school and college. Well, look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. And I don't say that to brag or boast. I say that to tell you, when God has a plan for your life, no matter what anybody says or anybody does, there could be roadblocks, there could be hurdles, there could be anything. But when it's your time, it's your time. So this is why I am passionate about education. I never knew at 10 years old how detrimental those words were. Those words could have crushed me. They could have crushed my soul. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have a praying mother. So those of you who have people in your corner who pray for you, thank them. Tell them how much you love them and continue to ask them to pray for you. Because I'm telling you, without my mother, I would not be here. When I was 10 years old, I was a rebel. Who do you know at 10 who gets kicked out of school, kicked off the bus, suspended? My father at one point was like, listen, Neek, I'm not going to the school for you no more. Like, I'm not going to the school for you no more. But I had no idea at 10 years old what it meant to experience racism. And that's what I'm telling you. Those of my friends who are on here who knows what I'm talking about, when we went to the other side of town, it was an experience I could never have imagined in my entire life. But guess what? It made us. It made me who I am today. It's why I have that struggle in me. It's why I have that strength in me. And it's why that no matter what, I'm always determined to accomplish stuff. So that is my passion. That is my why. If you feel like you want to drop your why in the comments, drop your why in the comments. Even if you're not an educator, if you are in your field and you have a why, drop your why in the comments. So today I just wanted to talk to you about my passion. So now I'm going to talk to all the educators out here today. Whether or not you are a teacher, a counselor, a director of counselor, a dean of students, a school psychologist, a social worker, a cafeteria worker, a bus driver, a superintendent, assistant superintendent, central office staff. This year has been one of the most unprecedented years of my career. I don't care how many years you've been teaching in education. I don't care how many years you've been in this field. This is a first for all of us. This is a first for everybody in education. And here's what I want you to know. Sometimes it's mentally draining, it's mentally challenging. But for my educators out here, I want you to do something. When we first went on the pandemic, my coworkers and I know they're on here, they can tell you, we've been working around the clock since March 2020. The first day we went out, we've been working around the clock. Teachers have been working around the clock. If you thought they worked when school was in, let me tell you, they're working twice as hard now. Why? Because they need to prep. So they have their own families that they need to take care of. They have their loved ones. They have their children. They have their aunts, their uncles, their nieces, their cousins, their parents they're taking care of, their grandparents, and their pets. My coworkers will be happy that I said pets because they know how I feel. But everybody in education has somebody that they're taking care of. So as a parent, when you say, I have these 3 children, I'm trying to maintain my job, just know they have 25 to 30 children. They're trying to take care of their own children and they're trying to maintain their jobs as well. So I want you to focus on your mental health. You know what I started to do? I started running. I love to run. I started running. I started cycling. I started working out in the morning with my workout buddy. I started getting up in the morning praying. I started meditating. I started listening to my gospel music. And my coworker can tell you, I'll text her a song and I'm listening to this gospel music today because it's what I needed to focus on my mental health. Educators, you're here for a reason. God put you in this position. We don't want you to get burnt out. I know that at some point I was like, listen here, something has to change. I am exhausted. I'm tired. I'm working around the clock, sun up to sundown on the weekends. When I tell you we're working hard, we're going hard in the paint right now as teachers. Anybody in education working hard because we're trying to figure this out because this is the first. There's no handbook. There's no playbook. There was nothing to tell us how to navigate this pandemic. And if you thought that you're having a hard time right now, guess what? The whole world is having a hard time, a nation as a whole. But for my teachers out here, for anybody who's in education, you must focus on your mental health. So guess what I want you to do? At 8 o'clock, I want you to close your computer. On a weekend, and I'm talking to my coworker, I know she's on here, I want you to close your computer at 8 o'clock, and I don't want you to open it up until 8 o'clock the next morning. Guess why? You need a mental break. You are not good to yourself and anybody else if you do not take care of who you are as a person. I can't give anything to anybody. I couldn't give anything to my students. I couldn't give anything to my teachers. I couldn't even give anything to my coworkers. I couldn't even give anything to my principal. Sometimes I would be on the call and I'd be like, wait a minute, check yourself. You're snapping. Check yourself, Kanika. Not Miss Dorsey. Check yourself, Kanika, from YO, from Yonkers, New York, because you're being a New Yorker right now. And I had to realize I needed to check myself because my mental energy, I was at 1,000. I was on empty, had nothing to give anybody else. And I found myself venting and complaining and frustrated. And so my coworkers, we say, listen, after 8 o'clock, I take that back. After 3:30 on a Friday, you can't talk about work until 8:30 on a Monday. The only thing you can post in these group texts are jokes and anything funny. You cannot talk about work. Why? Because we need to step back. If you don't step back and take care of yourself, you will have nothing to give to anybody else. And that's for anybody in any field. It's not okay to be a workhorse. One day I was sitting in church and the pastor said, you know, this lady talked about she worked 35 years and she never took a day off. I looked. He said, there's nothing good about that. And there's nothing good about that. There's nothing good about working 35 years. Guess what? When you leave that job, before you have even left that job, they already have a replacement for you. So guess what? You need to take some time to focus on your mental health. So today, I want you to think about one thing that you are going to do to focus on your mental health, whether that is a new hobby. If you decide you want to run, you want to cycle, you want to start, get you a journal, start writing, document what's happening in this pandemic as an educator. And when this is all over with, guess what? Publish a book. Publish a book. Go back and think about, because I know you have some text messages. I know you have some emails. Listen, when I look at my text messages with my friends, I have a lot. I can go back and I can write a whole book on it. So guess what? Write you a book about the pandemic. Write a book about your challenges, your struggles, and then write about how you overcame for the ultimate comeback. Because again, I'm telling you, when you look up resilient in the dictionary, my face is there. You can't have your face there because both of us can't be there. But I'll share a little bit with you. I might ask them to put your initials in Webster's dictionary, but I'm telling you, my face is there. So I want you to think about that. I want you to figure out how you can focus on your mental health. And then I want you to do one other thing. I want you to come up with a vision board. I did this with my family. I did this with my coworkers. I want to tell you, I have a vision board that I probably made about 4 or 5 years ago. There's only one thing on that vision board that I didn't accomplish. Let me tell you again, there's one thing on that vision board that I did not accomplish. Everything else, I accomplished it. So guess what? I made another vision board. And I started checking things off on that vision board. So I started checking things off. Guess what? There are only 2 things on that vision board I didn't accomplish. My mother and my sister had no idea that I wanted to have a platform to talk to people about my life. They had no idea that that was part of my vision. I talked to my mother a little bit about it, but I never said to her, I want to be able to talk to people, because where I am right now, people never thought I would be here. I had my daughter young, and guess what? I finished college, she finished college, and she doesn't have any children right now. So guess what? She's a step way past where I'm at. And sometimes I said I would never share that with people, but I want you to know that as a mother, I am proud of her. I'm proud of my accomplishments. I raced by myself with the support of my family, but guess what? Like I told you before, resiliency plus recovery equals the ultimate comeback. So guess what? It's the ultimate comeback. So again, educators, I want you to come up with the vision board. If you have to do a vision board party, of course, through Zoom, socially distanced, do it with your friends, do it with your coworkers, cut out some pictures, put some titles there, write all the things down that you want to accomplish. I made my daughter do a vision board too. She has one thing on her vision board. I'm about to have her create another vision board, because if you don't write your vision down and you don't make it plain, guess what? How else can it come to fruition? How else can you write your vision down, make it plain, and let it manifest itself? So again, sometimes, you might have the vision and God says, I'm redirecting your steps, I'm changing, I'm putting you in another place. And he did that for me. And those of you know, I must be in control. But at some point, you got to release, you got to let go, because God has another plan for you. So now I'm about to talk to the educators about students. I'm telling you, when I visit some classrooms and I look at those black screens, I'm over here like, you got to be kidding me. We are on here creating lessons. These teachers are working hard around the clock, and you have the nerve to have a black screen. You better turn your camera on right now. We need to see you. We need to know that you are there. We need to know that you are engaged. So educators, I want you to think about how you can engage your students. Let me tell you, I went to visit a class the other day, and the teacher was playing music. The cameras was on. The kids started snapping. I started snapping. I started jamming. I started moving. And when I debriefed with the teacher, I asked her, why do you let music happen in your classroom? She said, because it gets the students engaged early in the morning. They get to send me a playlist, and every time they send me a playlist, I play one of their songs. Guess what? Those cameras are on. They're dancing. I'm sitting in my seat. I'm doing a 2-step. I'm joining them. I'm excited. They're excited. She figured out how to engage her students. I went to visit another classroom. All the cameras are on. I was like, okay, this is exciting. What am I missing? All the cameras are on. So excited. The teacher sends me a message, and guess what he said? The first student who gets to come to class gets to be the teacher for that day. The student gets to post the assignments in the chat. The student gets to tell the class what it is that they're going to do. And I thought, oh, he hit the jackpot. Those students raced to his class to be on time. When I tell you they raced to his class to be on time. So as educators, you have to think about a way on how to engage your students. And let me tell you something. I was talking to a staff member, and the staff member said, Ms. Dorsey, there are too many Zooms for these kids. They need one Zoom. I thought about it. Now, wait a minute. They play Fortnite. They watch TikTok. They can watch a TikTok, and an hour later, they know the dance. They know these Cardi B lyrics, Migos, Jay-Z, you name it, they know it. They can play Roblox. If they can do all of that, I guarantee you that they can do their schoolwork. Nobody can tell me. My little niece is 3 years old. She knows how to use the phone better than I do. She puts faces. She puts me on mute when she doesn't want to talk to me. She will block the screen. At 3 years old, she's figured out technology. So guess what? Elementary, middle, and high school students, they know how to do this work. But educators, I'm challenging you to figure out how to engage them. Think about technology. How can you engage your class with technology? I was visiting a class the other day. This is a class the teacher said, now when I tell you she's dynamic with a capital D. She's also dynamic because I hired her. And I want to tell you I have a good hiring track record. I hired her. So I'm just saying she's dynamic. She had her students create a video using their phones for a commercial. So they had to pick a product that they liked. They had to shoot a commercial, and they had to submit it to the teacher for the class to view it and to get feedback. Do you know how dynamic that is? Listen, I'm giving her snaps right now. Her whole class was engaged in that assignment. She had to figure out a way. These students like technology. Now, when most of us went to school, I had a beeper. Somebody would beat me. I go to the payphone. I use a payphone. Then they came up with the flip phone. These kids are inundated with social media. They know everything about technology. So guess what? We have to meet them by name, by need. What is it that they need to be successful? Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone to give these students what they need. You have to fill your tool belt. You have to fill your box with some new strategies for engagement. It's not easy. It's not hard. I know sometimes we're in our comfort zone and we're like, listen, I learned this way. They should learn that way. They don't learn that way. Some learn with a paper and pencil test. Majority of these students don't learn. Why? Because they have a mini computer in their hand. They can do anything they want with their phones. Guess what? They can do anything they want with their phones. We have to figure out how to engage them. You have to figure out how to meet their needs. So here's what I want you to do. School starts on Monday, right? I want you to, and don't tell your principal I said this, I'm an academic principal as well. I want you to put aside your curriculum. I want you to put aside those standards. I want you to put aside that test for a minute. Now, I'm not saying the whole time. I'm not trying to get anybody fired, and Lord knows I need my job. I want you to put that away for a second, and I want you to connect with these students. When I first started teaching, I would say to students, how was your weekend? Until one day a student told me, well, my mother or father got arrested. So-and-so got killed on the block. So-and-so got attacked in the elevator. So I stopped asking about how was your weekend. I started to say, tell me that new song that you like. Did you watch the football game? Did you watch the basketball game? Did you watch that new video? I can't believe in the video she actually did that. No, you cannot do that in this class. You cannot stand in front of the class and drop anything like it's hot. Absolutely not. But guess what? I learned to connect with them. Tell me your favorite song. Tell me your favorite book. Tell me your favorite hobby. Tell me something you like to do. You have to connect with these students. If you do not connect with these students, I don't care how dynamic you are. You could stand on your head. You could do a cartwheel. You could do a backflip. You could be the best singer in the world. If you do not connect with these students, they're not learning from you. And here's a quick station break. And this might offend some of you, and I'm going to say ouch if I stepped on your toes, but students don't learn from people they don't like. I'm going to say it again. Students don't learn from people they don't like. And you might say, they don't have to learn from you. I still earn my paycheck. But don't you owe it to them to give them 110%? Don't you owe it to them to develop a relationship so that way there's mutual respect between you and the student? Let me explain something to you. When my daughter was in school, she's a witness. I would tell her, don't go back and forth with the teacher. The teacher says something disrespectful to you, don't go back and forth with the teacher. Your job is to come home and tell me and to tell your principal. But the minute you go back and forth with that teacher, you are in trouble. I don't care what the teacher said to you. As a parent, you're in trouble. So I don't want you to go back and forth. I want you to think about what the teacher said. I want you to reflect on it. Even if you have to write it down and come home and tell me, I'm your biggest advocate. I'm going to have a conversation with that teacher. And I tell you, I work with a coworker in my first year. He's so calm when he talks to students. I would be giving him the side eye. Like, if you don't raise your voice to these students and have a conversation with them, but I learned there was a method to his madness. The calmer he spoke to them, the calmer they became. It diffused the situation. So I learned from him. So when students came to my office, guess what I did? I didn't yell, I didn't raise my voice. I told them, sit down for a minute. Well, Ms. Dorsey, let me tell you, no. I don't want you to talk. I want you to think about it. I get up, I make a phone call, I go talk to my administrative assistant, I come back, Ms. Dorsey, I'm ready. No, I don't want you to talk yet. I want you to think about it. I start typing on an email. I might look at a lesson plan. After 5 minutes, okay, are you ready to talk? And so guess what I learned? They knew that I gave them some time to think about what story they wanted to tell me. Either they told me the truth or they told me a lie. Now, when they told me the lie, they knew that there would be consequences. But when I gave that student some time to calm down, to think about what he or she did, to reconnect and come back to the schoolhouse building, guess what? I got a better outcome from them. And I learned that from one of my colleagues. I learned that because me, I'd go at 1,000 real fast. Listen, if you don't sit down, no curse words though, and then I would have a conversation. But I learned kids don't understand that way. They don't understand when you yell. They don't understand when you raise your voice. They understand when you're calm. And so I developed a relationship with students. For some strange reason, they like to come to my office. Even when they got in trouble, they came because they knew I would listen. They knew I would be their advocate. And then they knew we would have a conversation. And even if they were wrong, they could have been wrong 100% of the time. I sent them back to that class. They apologized to the teacher because sometimes teachers want to feel special. I know I like to feel special. Tell me I'm special. And guess what? We moved on because students need to know that you care. They won't learn anything from you unless they know that you care. I don't care how amazing you are, and I'm going to say it again. I don't care how amazing you are. You might be amazing like a rapper, a singer, a comedian, an actress, or an actor. If a child does not like you, they're not learning anything. And ask me how I know. Please ask me how I know, because I was that child. I didn't learn anything when I went to public school. If I didn't have the foundation that I had, I would not have learned anything because I didn't like my teachers. I didn't learn anything. So again, teachers, educators, whatever your position is in education, I'm challenging you to connect with your students in any way you can. And I admonish you, don't ask about the weekend. For some of our babies, they don't have enough food over the weekend. Their parents might have moved to another country. They might have lost a loved one. So don't ask about the weekend. And I know it's normal. You say, hey, how was your weekend? Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. Because sometimes the answers you get, they'll crush you, they'll make you cry on the inside. And so I learned that my first year the hard way. And I'm gonna tell you, my first year the hard way, when I was teaching in the South Bronx, I would have to walk my students home to the project and have their parents meet me on the elevator. And they would say, why would you have to do that? Because I'm gonna let you think what could happen to a young girl if she went up on the elevator by herself. So don't ask them about their weekend, connect with them on a whole new level. Listen, I tell the kids, the other day I was giving my motivational speech. I'm telling you, it was on. I was ready for them because I was trying to encourage them. And I told them, I was the student who got the D's and F's. I'm not lying to you. You can ask my mother. They thought that I was really special when I was little. And it's not that I was special. I didn't like the teachers. I couldn't learn anything. How can I learn from somebody who I don't like, who tells me every day I'm not going to graduate high school or college? How could you learn anything from anybody like that? So do me a favor, connect. Parents, I haven't forgotten about you. Oh, no, I haven't forgotten about you, parents, at all. Absolutely not. And I'm a mother first. Anybody knows me. Mariah is 24 years old. I'm a mother first. But parents, I have to talk to you on some real conversations today. And what I want to talk to you about is the first thing I want you to do. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to thank your teacher, your child's teacher. Send them an email to your child's teacher, the school counselor, the school psychologist, the social worker, the assistant principal, the academic principal, the custodial staff, the cafeteria staff, the principal. Send them a thank you email. We are working hard. And if you are exhausted with your child at home, oh my, oh my, oh my, just imagine what we're doing. And we've been doing this. Some of us 25, 30 kids in the classroom, we've been doing this. So send your child's teacher a thank you email. Send them a thank you email. And there's some people on here who work in central office. Send central office a thank you email. Thank them for all the work that they've been doing to make this happen. And some of my friends on here work in central office. When I tell you they are working hard, they're working hard around the clock. Our teachers, directors of counseling, deans of students, academic principals. When I tell you we're working around the clock, and we're working as a team to make it happen. Send them a thank you email. The next thing I need you to do is I need you to talk with your child every day. Put the social media away, put your phone down, close your computer, turn your TV off, sit at the table if you have to, sit in your living room, whatever you have to do, and talk to your child about their day. Ask them how their day is going. I'll tell you, I talked to my nephew a little while ago, and I said, nephew, tell me what you learned in school today. And anybody knows my nephew? He was like, I didn't learn anything, because he knows it all. And I said, listen, I'm giving you an assignment. Next week, you better tell me something you learned from school. You better tell me something you learned. I want to know one thing that you learned. So I called him the next week. He told me something that he learned. It is important as a family, and we strayed away from this, that you sit down and have a conversation with your children. When I was growing up, listen, at 6 o'clock when my father got home, you knew to be at that dinner table, ready to eat dinner. And at that time, there was a conversation. We got to talk about everything that happened. Mind you, it was 5 of us at that table, so you better get a word in when you could. But it was important to us. And even people who grew up with us. If you on here right now, you know family time was so important to my parents. They would look up and there'll be other people at the dinner table with us, having full conversations because it was important. So we have to go back to that. Talk to your children about their day. Ask them what they learned in school. Ask them if they have any homework. Ask them what it is that they learned. Anything, it could be anything. And then I want you to take some time to have your children read. Read with them, read at the table with them. Take 30 minutes where everybody is just at the table reading something. Now, you might say, I want my child to read a chapter book, but you want your children to develop a love for reading. So don't make them read a chapter book. If they like Fortnite, find them a book on Fortnite. If they like bicycles, find them a book on bicycles. Whatever they like to do, sports, you name it, find them something that they like to read, magazines, newspapers, and have them read it. but put the technology down for a minute and reconnect with your family. It is so important. I can't tell you how many times I talk to children and they tell me, no, my mom and dad is working, and when they come home, they're exhausted. When I tell you, my daughter can tell you, my friend on here can tell you, my mother can tell you, my brothers and sisters, I've worked 2 and 3 jobs, went to 2 universities at one time, and was a full-time parent, and still made time to spend with my child. So when I tell you that's the truth, you have to do it. You have to connect. You have to take some time to talk to your child. Don't make them write every time they read, because they're going to dislike reading, and we want our children to have a love of reading. Our ancestors did not sacrifice for our children to say, I don't want to read. You don't want to read what? You better sit down and read this book. I don't care if it's a comic book, if it's a recipe, if it's a cookbook, read. Take some family time and read with your children. And here's another thing. A lot of our children struggle with math and science. They struggle. I don't know why they struggle. But when you're in the kitchen cooking, bring them in the kitchen with you. Cook some recipes. Have them do some measurements. Have them turn on that oven. Have them bake with you. Have them figure it out. And I'll tell you, my mother, she was like, a pinch of this, a pinch of that. Mom, a pinch of what? I need measurements. Is it 1/8, 3/4, a half? Like, tell me what it is I need. At the time, I didn't know I was trying to figure out math because I wasn't learning. But I was like, Ma, if you don't tell me what this is, and we laugh to this day because she still will say, Neek, put a pinch of this and a pinch of that when I'm spending quality time with her in the kitchen cooking. Because that's the time I spend with her when I go home. She doesn't know that's the time that I need with her to spend that time. I'm a grown adult and I still need that time with my mother to spend. So parents, it is so important. Find some time to have with your children with some recipes. When you go into the store, have them add up the food. Don't let them pull out their phone and use a math. No, have them add it up, a piece of paper and a pen, add up everything you have in this list and include a tax, because we have to start young. Parents always say, and I'm going to say always, and my friend always says, you always say always, you speak in absolutes. Well, if you know me, I do speak in absolutes, and sometimes I shouldn't say always, but right now I did. We assume that the teacher is the first teacher. I'm telling you, I disagree. The parent is the first teacher. Everything your child needs to know first, they learn from you at home. A teacher can tell a parent who has read to their child by the way they hold the book, the way they open the book, the way they turn their pages. So I'm going to say that again. It sounds so minute, but it's not. A teacher can tell if a parent reads to a child. You can tell the way a child turns the pages in a book if a parent has read to them. So parents, you are the first teacher of the child. You are the first teacher. You are the first teacher. You are the first teacher of the child. Teach them at home. And when they go to school, they will have a foundation. The foundation starts with you. And here's another thing. Be supportive of the school. If there's a situation that happens, be supportive. How many of you, and you don't have to answer this, have reached out to your child's school this year? Today is February. I need to look at the calendar because I'm telling you, every day runs the same. Today is February 20th, right? February 20th. Have you reached out to your child's teacher? Have you sent an email? Have you checked on your child? Have you asked the teacher how your child is doing? My daughter can tell you, people say when they get to high school, that's the time that you take your hands off. Absolutely not. Mariah could tell you, I used to walk that school. The principal knew me, the counselor knew me, security officers knew me, the deans knew me, her teachers knew me. Some days I would sit with her in class because I needed them to see my face. And I have a friend, and anytime she has a question about her child, she calls me. And anybody knows me, I have a passion for children. If there's something I can do to help you, I'm going to help you. If I don't know, I'm reaching out to my network, I'm getting you an answer, and I'm coming back to you. I'm coming back to you with an answer. And so she reached out to me and she said, I want my child to go to the school, but they said no. We don't take no as an answer. No way. We're not taking no. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do X, Y, and Z, and I want you to do it. And then I want you to do it again, and I want you to do it again. I want you to know she texted me, said, Nick, at work, my daughter's in the school that I wanted her to be. Absolutely. We're not taking no for an answer. Nobody else takes no. So why should you take no? If there's something that you need for your child, guess what? You must be the biggest advocate there is for your child. When they are in high school, take some time to know those teachers. And I'm going to tell you something. When your child gets to 10th and 11th grade, those counselors need to know who they are. And they need to know who they are because you need to know who they are. Because when it's time for a scholarship, they're going to say, oh, I thought about Kanika. Kanika, come to my office and fill out this scholarship. I have something for you. I'm speaking truth of what I know. Mariah went to college. Those people loved her because let me tell you, we went 20 deep when she went to college. They're like, college, most times you drop your child off. Absolutely not. I need to know who's in the financial aid office. I need to know everybody. I need to know everybody. We made ourselves known. Even my friend came down. We all went together because it's a family thing. And guess what? When there was money for her, they called her. They called her right to the office. Those people in there loved her. You have to make yourself known. You have to be an advocate for your child, no matter how old they are. Even in college, and they're like, oh, I can't get her grades. You don't have to, but I need to know when there's some money available. I need you to make sure she gets that money. And I had a friend who helped her get into school. So I thank you for that too, because it wasn't for her. I don't know. But again, you have to use your network. So parents, I have a task for you. Email your teachers. Find out how your child is doing. It is imperative that you email your child's teachers once a month. I'm telling you, once a month. It's important. Email and check in, because what happens is you get to the end of the quarter and you thought your child was doing well. You didn't get a phone call, and now you're going berserk. Like, the teacher never called me. And you're absolutely right. The teacher should call. Sometimes I make calls as the academic principal. The deans may call. The director of counseling make calls. But it's up to you as a parent to check in on your child. I am encouraging you. I am telling you that is a task that you must do even up to the 12th grade. Check on your child, because when there's something that's going on, they're going to call you. They're going to reach out to you because they know your name. They know your face. They know who you are. And so I just want to recap, because I'm on my way. I'm almost finished. I hope you enjoyed everything that I had to say. So I'm just going to recap. For all the educators, focus on your mental health. It is important. We need you. They need you. Your family needs you. Everybody needs you. Create that vision board. Write down what it is that you want to do and make it a reality. Teachers, again, encourage your students and engage them. You will lose them if you do not engage them. And we don't need a bunch of black and brown children being lost. We've had enough of that. We've definitely had enough of our children being lost, nowhere to go, falling through the cracks. We can't let that happen. We have to rally around each other as a community. If your child needs some help, I know that there's some middle school or high school student who can help your child. Reach out to the network. Reach out to the people you know. Reach out to me. I'm not even in Yonkers. I'll tell you, I'll find you somebody. If you live out here, I'll find you somebody, because we have to stick together as a family. When I was growing up, we all knew each other. I could go to somebody's house today and their parents going to let me in. We grew up together as a family. We have to get back to that family network. Notice this is Virtuous Streams. It's a family network. My mother, my sister, my brother, my nephew. It's a family network. We have to be able to support each other. And I'm telling you, anybody who knows me, if you send me a message on Facebook, I'm going to help you. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do whatever I can. If I don't know, I'm reaching out to my network, because I have some dope people in my network. I have people all over in my network. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find the answer for you. Again, I want you to reach out to your child's teacher. It is February. Someday, let me just tell you, all my days run together. That's just how it's been since March. I think 13th when we left, every day runs together. Reach out to them, support them, encourage them. If there's an issue with the teacher, don't get on Zoom having an attitude with the teacher. Oh no, because let me tell you something. I sit there in silence. I'm silent for a minute, because I'm not going back and forth with anybody. And sometimes parents are mad, and my role is to diffuse the situation. And sometimes I just have to listen. But encourage your teachers, support them, encourage anybody in that school, because it's hard. It's been hard. We don't need a lot of teachers by the end of this year being burnt out, because if we lose teachers in this profession, we're done. Who's going to teach these children? If all my educators on here, I need you to type if you're an educator in the chat. I need you to type if you're an educator, because I'm telling you, it's been a year for us. We've been burnt out. We are exhausted. But if we don't feel supported, guess what? Some people are going to leave this profession, and we don't need people leaving this profession. We don't need our 20-year-something, some 20-year-olds deciding, you know what, this is my second year, I had enough leaving. They need to be encouraged. They need to be motivated, help and support them. So again, I want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope I've said something that has encouraged you. I hope you really sit down and create your vision board. I'm telling you, I created one with my family. I created one with my friends, and some of the things on the vision board I've already checked off, and I'm going to keep checking it off, because resiliency and recovery brings the ultimate comeback. And I'm telling you, if you need help with resume writing, that is a business that I do have as well. If you need help with coaching, especially for my educators, because I have to tell you, when I stood on these interviews, I'm thinking, oh, you needed a coach. You needed somebody to help you. I wish you would have reached out to me. I can't be on your panel, but I can help you. So send me a message on Facebook if you need some help, because I am here to help you. My network, I'm telling you, I have some amazing people. I can reach out to them. I can talk to them. If I don't know something, they're going to point me in the right direction. So again, I want to say thank you. I love you all for supporting me today. I want you to know my mother texted me this morning, like, how you feel? I couldn't tell her. Yeah, I'm a little jittery. I'm a little excited. My nerves are a little, they're acting up. But I did it. I didn't think I would. But again, God always positions me for the ultimate comeback. And I have some other stories I'm going to share with you. Not today. I need y'all to come back. If I tell you everything, you might not come back the next time. But there's some stuff when I tell you about my life, you'll wonder, how did you make it this far? But I made it. And I'm thankful. And I would like to say, I have a praying mother, sister, brothers, you name it. But I know my mother went to God so many times on her knees for me, because I can't begin to tell you the love I had for her. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. Because I remember when I was going to school trying to get my degree, guess who was keeping Mariah for me? She was keeping Mariah. She said, I'll keep her for you, but guess what? You're going to school. Okay, I'm going to school, and look where I'm at now. People didn't think I would make it this far. I had her when I was young. They probably turned their backs on me. My mother said this to me. She said, you're not the first and you won't be the last. But guess what she did? She encouraged me, she motivated me, and she helped me. And I'm here right now. I'm here right now on Virtuous Streams Network to be able to share my story with you. So thank you, everybody. I love you all. I hope you join me again. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, it is a spectacular Saturday. Do something for yourself. Make it amazing. And I love you all. Have a good one.